My guest at this time is a veteran WWE referee. He is the subject of our It's All Greek to Me segment here on the Wrestling Inc. Daily. It's Jimmy Korderas. Jimmy, welcome back to the Daily.
Thanks for having me back. I just wish I could remember all that Greek that I learned when I was a youngster.
Oh, man. You know what I do every day now is I eat Greek yogurt every morning.
Oh, nice. I've gotten away from the Greek yogurt. Now I'm into those fruity. Anyways, never mind.
Okay, never mind. This isn't a breakfast podcast. It's a wrestling
No,
podcast.
exactly.
Oh, anyway, we just finished up the Chamber on Sunday. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Just before we get into kind of the nitty gritty here, overall, how are you feeling? What's your excitement level this year on the road to WrestleMania, Jimmy?
I am somewhat excited. The whole stuff that's going on SmackDown right now, like Roman Reigns has got me invested big time in what he's doing. I mean, like I think he's found his groove, and then having Edge come back, and that looks like the direction they're going for that title defense. I love that story.
I think that's official now. I think the match is official.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if sometimes like I said, too many ref bumps sometimes. So, but it's awesome. I love where it's going. Roman has been a highlight for WWE in the last few months, and I'm loving the story, and I love where it's going with Edge, and just looking forward to the rest of that story.
What did you think of the booking at the Chamber where Daniel Bryan had to wrestle for 35 minutes in this hellacious match and then immediately had to have this match with Roman Reigns? Did you like the storytelling that led into that and then the eventual spear there from Edge?
Absolutely, because it makes sense that a guy who is a heel takes advantage of a situation like that, and Daniel Bryan was a sympathetic babyface in that situation, because here's the guy who, like you said, went through a grueling match, selling his leg and his knee and whatever and stuff like that, and then having to go directly into a match with a fresh Universal Champion. The story was awesome, and then Edge coming out and spearing out of nowhere. To be honest with you, I didn't see it coming, but that's good.
Well, and with Edge, I know a lot of people say, Edge is kind of in that realm of part-time, but he really, to me, isn't, because if it was his wish, he would have been full-time for the past year. What do you think of the fact that this year's kind of WrestleMania picture is taking place with a lot of non-part-timers? A lot of guys like, Lashley's in the mix. Drew, you got The Miz now in the mix. Are you a fan of that, what we're seeing this year at Mania?
Yeah, especially considering I still want to get the feel on how it's going to be over 2 nights. But because we're having it over 2 nights, there's a possibility here where you have your guys, your veteran core of guys, as your foundation, as your cement block, so to speak, and then surround them with the younger guys that you want to elevate. We've been waiting for a long time for someone like Cesaro to get to that next level. A lot of people, and it looks like it's heading in that direction. It didn't happen on Sunday, but it looks like it's heading there. And maybe WrestleMania, he will have his WrestleMania moment. We don't know. We shall see.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with the 2-night Mania, though, are you a fan of that format? Do you hope they stick with it going forward? Because right now the Manias after this year, they go back to 1 night, at least on paper as the moment.
I think I'm going to wait till after Mania. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to sound like Kreskin here and say, yes, it's going to be fantastic, or no, over 2 nights. I want to see how it plays out. I want to see how it's presented. And then I could form an opinion. But I am going into it optimistically. Let's put it that way, that it will present itself well over 2 nights.
I'll say this, man. We had 2 WWE pay-per-views the past 2 weekends. We had Chamber on Sunday, and then we had TakeOver the week before. And neither of these shows went maybe not even over 2.5 hours. I think maybe each of them was 2.5 hours or less. This is kind of a new trend, it seems, WWE's doing with at least these smaller pay-per-views for the moment,
Right. And who knows, like, if you put WrestleMania on 1 night or on 1 day completely, do you put on a 5-hour pay-per-view? People's attention spans nowadays aren't, people are complaining about 3-hour Raws now.
Yeah.
So, having it over 2 nights, and even if you do 3 hours each night, it's still, broken up. So let's see how that works out.
Do you think that more people, because now that they're going to be doing this on Peacock, do you think this is going to open up and get more eyeballs on the product? Or do you think this would be a little jarring, having to ask everybody to cancel one subscription, head over to get a new subscription? I mean, how do you think the Peacock deal helps or hurts WrestleMania this year?
I think it's going to be, again, here's the wait and see. I don't want to predict on this thing because, like you said, people are going to have to switch. For people like myself here in Canada, we don't have to do that, so we're good. We just stay as we are. We basically, the network is the way it's provided here by their partnership with with Sportsnet.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
it's going to be a U.S. thing. I hope it doesn't hurt the numbers too bad, but there could be a little bit of a dip before people get comfortable and used to the change.
I don't even think it's like you're just like a couple miles north of me, Jimmy, and I always forget that we have like entirely different realities between the States and Canada. That's right.
Oh yes, definitely.
This won't affect you. That's right. Well, before we get, I do want to talk more about the Raw side, but before we move past on the SmackDown stuff, you brought up Cesaro. Somebody else I really enjoyed in that Chamber match, I've just really been enjoying anyway, is Jey Uso. And I wonder, with Roman in the spotlight here with Edge, where do you think that leaves Jey this year for WrestleMania? What would you like to see a Jey Uso doing at WrestleMania this year?
It'd be interesting. I'm wondering, does it lead down the road for Jey to finally have enough of his cousins? I'm the head of the table, I'm the head of the family kind of thing, and see that kind of change and see that turn coming, or maybe it's a combination of, we don't know do we know the situation with his brother?
We
Jimmy?
don't. I don't know that Jimmy's been cleared yet or anything. So I
right.
Yeah.
So we still have a wait and see with him too as well. Will he join his clan and his brethren, or will he be the odd man out? And who knows? There are a lot of possibilities with Jey, but like you said, he has been, he's been a standout as well in this whole thing. And whatever they decide to do with him, I hope. I would like to see actually him and his cousin get into it, but we'll see.
It's still a little early for him and Roman
Yeah.
to get back to it. They went back and they were brutalizing each other up to about 4 months ago.
Right.
Seems like forever ago at this point, like everything, but
right.
They just kind of got finished beating each other up not long ago.
Yeah. No, I'm talking down the road. Yeah. Sure. I don't know as soon as Mania, that's for sure, but
what's interesting? I liked him and Daniel Bryan in that Chamber. And like with as much as Daniel Bryan has been kind of getting into it with the Anawahis and Roman and Jey, can you do like a Roman in the main event and a Jey Uso singles match against a Daniel Bryan or Cesaro or somebody on the undercard? Would that work for you?
Yeah, that would be absolutely incredible. And as you said, Jey seemed to have some really, really good chemistry with Daniel Bryan. Who doesn't?
Sure.
Daniel Bryan, you know what I mean? But at the same time, Jey is also showing that he can hang with these guys. So Jey versus Daniel Bryan would be nice. Jey versus Cesaro would be very good as well. But not for anything. I'd like to see something bigger for Cesaro.
Yeah. The title picture is pretty clouded right now. I don't know. It's like him, Bryan, Jey. I'm kind of convinced like there's gonna be like 4 guys from SmackDown, 4 guys from Raw. They're gonna wind up in this ladder match for Big E's IC title or whatever it may be.
Right. Yeah. So. Eventually, I'd like to see him get there. Again, there is no rush because Cesaro is that guy that you can take your time and build around.
Yeah. Well, and back to the Chamber. One thing I wanted to ask you, Jimmy, as a veteran referee, how did you feel about almost removing the plexiglass from the Elimination Chamber, freeing AJ Styles from his pod, and then inserting himself before the countdown had hit? Do you like how that all played out, or no?
If you want to go strictly by the rules aspect of it, yeah. But at the same time, it was unique. It was different, and it had never happened before. So. At least to my recollection, nothing like that has ever happened before where somebody wanted to get into the chamber early.
No.
But hey, so sometimes different is good. And in that situation, I didn't mind it as much.
Okay.
It was almost one of those things like if I was refereeing and said, oh, you want to get in here and get beat up? Go for it. You were going to get in here eventually anyways.
Sure. Okay, great. Well, I'm just wondering from a referee's perspective how you felt. Because I watched it too and I was like, can you do that? Is that like what are you allowed to do that? I'm not sure.
There's really no precedent sense, so it's kind of like call it on the fly sort of thing. Right. I don't want to go on a referee tangent right now, but
no, I know how to poke you. That's why I brought it up.
Nice.
Also of course at the Chamber, the big news coming out of this at the end of the show, Miz cashes his Money in the Bank. Now, I could ask you how you feel about that, but really it's like how do you feel about the Raw title picture? Because now we're going to get Lashley and Miz on Raw. A lot of people think Lashley could take this title from Miz. Miz holds the belt for 2 weeks, but then Lashley drops it to Drew at Mania in 6 weeks. it seems like very convoluted. What do you think about the path right now that the Raw title is on going into?
Uh, I'm very curious as to see how they're going to make this play out, like you said, because you know, as of right now, it looks like Miz versus Lashley on Monday Night Raw for the title. And you know, like I said, I was kind of I said this, I believe in one of my, well, you see, I'm being Mick Foley-ish here, ref and rants. See, cheap plug, get it in there.
Every day.
I almost wish that Lashley on Sunday at the Elimination Chamber would have taken out Drew like he did, have Miz come down to cash in the Money in the Bank, you know, hand over the briefcase, but have Lashley come in and kind of screw up Miz's opportunity, if you know what I mean, and keep the title on Drew and say, you know what? This is the guy I want, not you. Get out of here. I want this guy. Kind of, I know it doesn't sound very heelish that way. It's more heelish the way he did it, where he said, hey, I help you win the title as long as you do me a favor.
Yeah.
And it looks like, you know, in his mind, I could beat The Miz easier than I could beat Drew McIntyre. But at the same time, I don't know. Having Miz, as we see, most likely a transitional champion here, I don't know if it helps the story as much or not.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. It's because like Edge and Roman Reigns is so straightforward, right? Like Roman Reigns is a total heel. Like he's an unlikable person. Edge is this white knight coming in, and boom, that's a non-complicated story. I feel like over on Raw, that and of course now with Lacey Evans getting pregnant, the Raw Women's title picture is equally kind of in disarray here. Unlike over again on SmackDown, where you know I think everybody's chomping at the bit to see Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. It's a tale of two brands, man. Very different roads to WrestleMania so far.
No, absolutely. And like you said, sometimes what's the old saying? Keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes that works best. It's okay to throw curveballs in there, but you don't want to throw in, you know, way outside into the dugout.
How do you feel the Bad Bunny experiment is working with Damian Priest? Talking about curveballs here, I don't think anybody saw Bad Bunny on the road to WrestleMania.
No, see, and I understand that apparently he's bringing in some monetary value with regards to merchandise and stuff like that. I at least I read that somewhere.
Yes.
I don't know how true it is, whatever the case may be. That being said, so here's a guy who wins a 24/7 championship. They had an opportunity. You know, everybody was excited that he was going to be on Saturday Night Live. What if they do something there and R-Truth shows up? That would have been a perfect venue for R-Truth, in my opinion. Saturday Night Live, R-Truth is custom made for a place like that. But is he a babyface? Is he not? He's hanging with Damian Priest, who's allegedly a babyface, but he's hiding behind him at the same time. I don't know. It just I'm not a big fan of celebs with titles unless it's a celeb who looks like he can handle himself, if that makes sense.
He slapped the taste out of Miz's mouth. I was surprised with how he laid it in on Monday night. I'll be honest there, you know.
Well, I'd slap Miz like that too if I had Damian Priest behind me. So you know,
and it's the little things because like I don't think casual fans would ever notice something like that, but it was really weird to me where I'm just like, that guy's the champ, but he's like a coward where he hides behind Damian Priest. It is. I don't think they're thinking too hard about it. For me, with the Bad Bunny stuff, it's just, I mean, how long has it been since a guy transferred from NXT to the main roster where you like felt like he was a player? You know what I mean? And just this guy coming up, he's got the look, he's got the style, he's got this celebrity by his side. I mean, in my opinion, it's just one of the best transitions from NXT to the main roster that we've seen maybe ever. I don't really know. You know, there's been a lot, but this one has resonated in a way I don't think others have. And but I'm just a push too.
But I'm just worried that my concern is just that this is going to take away from Damian Priest by having him by his side constantly for now, at least. Anyways.
Yeah, that's true. It's more about Bad Bunny now. Damian Priest is kind of fading into the background a bit. As cool as it was. Well, talking something that's definitely not fading into the background. The top story on the site this morning, Jimmy, I woke up to was Alexa Bliss responds to Randy Orton spitting black liquid out of his mouth. So this is an event that has caused conversation and interest. Good idea, bad idea, what they're doing with Randy and The Fiend with the black liquid.
I don't know. Again, I want to see how this plays out before I pass judgment. It's kind of like a modernized version of Papa Shango meets Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of thing. And yeah, I know it's a little bit over the top and but you know, that's what pro wrestling is. You know, it's okay to do it here, but it's not okay to do it there. People get, complaining about it. I don't mind a little supernatural stuff happening. I view wrestling as an entertainment vehicle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, I have my preferences for the way I like it presented, but I'm okay with mixing it up with a little supernatural and some comedy when it's done right.
Was this
at least
done
right in my mind?
So, but was this done right? Because I'm with you. I just don't know. I mean, unless you're like 8 years old, does this grab you, or you're like, oh my god, I'm scared. I can't wait for somebody to the next move in this. I was left a little just kind of flat by the whole thing, where I just didn't know what to think of it.
I get that, but at the same time, it's kind of like watching any television show where where there's somebody getting shot or something like that, whatever it is, a cop drama, something. And look, when I was watching, what was on the other night? Oh my goodness! What's it? Carrie.
Okay.
Was on the other night. Now I'm not watching and go, that can't happen in real life. Come on. I was watching it to be entertained. You know what I mean? You shut it off. I don't know. It's harder to do it with wrestling nowadays, but still, you try to shut it off for a little while if you can, and just try to understand the story they're telling, even though it's not based on any reality that we know of.
Last thing here before I bump off into a couple other kind of random topics to wrap up. But with the Raw stuff, Braun lost clean to Lashley in 6 minutes in the main event of Raw. What's your take on that, man? Like,
like the old school me says, what did Braun do?
That's what I thought.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Who did he tick off or something, whatever the case may be? I don't know. But I think it's more along the lines of them wanting to build Lashley into this unbeatable, destructive beast. And that's exactly what they did on Monday night. They made him look invincible. And when it does eventually come down to Bobby versus Drew, which is, I'm assuming, the direction that it's going to head down to, likely for WrestleMania, when Drew beats, if that's the plan, Drew beats Bobby, then he has beaten someone of something. Last year, he beats Brock Lesnar. This year, he beats Bobby Lashley. Is there anybody who could take out Drew McIntyre without him having to go through, an Elimination Chamber match and 6 other people or whatever the case may be?
Right. Yeah.
So I get it. It did a world of good for Bobby Lashley. I don't know how much it helped Braun, though.
I don't know, man. I mean, it does seem like Braun and Shane are going to somehow get involved in a match here at Mania, the way Braun keeps, bringing Shane's name up and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. You brought that up. I didn't think of that. That's actually interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Having Shane fall off the Tron or something again.
Shane's like, for years I fell onto a crash pad. What if I wrestled the crash pad, right? So I'm going to have a match with Braun Strowman.
Aha, you may have something there.
The big dude.
Yeah.
Onto him.
Yeah,
you worked with the Undertaker for many years. Mm-hmm. The hot topic that Undertaker has brought up here in recent weeks that seemingly everybody has weighed in on, his comment about how the business has become soft. Are you surprised to hear him talk like this? I mean, do you agree with him? Like, what's your take when you hear a veteran like that make
well, you know what? I'm an Undertaker guy. I fully respect the Undertaker and his opinion. I can't speak to it because I'm not there now. I'm not in the locker room. I don't see it anymore. So I don't know what the changes are from back when I was there, where, basically, like Taker said, back in the day, you had to at times put up or shut up. You know what I mean? It's just the way it was. Again, talking old school mentality. Now, how it is nowadays, I couldn't speak to that. I honestly couldn't. So.
Do you think that Taker? I mean, it's just so interesting for a guy to me that has had such a pristine reputation with the fans, right? And it's largely because of his mystique. But now he's dropping the mystique and he's letting his opinions out there, and he's saying stuff like this. Do you think that he's tampering with his legacy when he goes out? Do you think he should continue to keep talking? I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, more the reaction and less about what he said, and more the reaction from the fans and their relationship with him.
I don't know if it's going to tamper with his legacy or not, but maybe he's just trying to fire up the guys, fire up the troops. I don't know. Maybe it's his way of lighting that little fire to get guys motivated. Because sometimes, I've seen it before, even back in the day, sometimes guys get complacent with their positioning and their placement, and they're okay with just going along with things. Sometimes you have to, stir the pot a little bit. Let's put it that way. Not only with other talent, but with management, you have to sometimes, hey, I know people talk about Vince in this way, but sometimes it's okay to go to Vince and say, hey, Vince, I got an idea. How about this? Or something, maybe that's what he's trying to do. Maybe he's just trying to light a fire under the boys and girls.
Hey, that's a good take. You got good takes.
Thank you.
Got good reference.
Reference? There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Lastly here, I guess I'll ask you, we've touched on all the Mania stuff. Let's real quickly kind of touch on Wednesday nights, man. What do you think of the state of the Wednesday Night Wars? NXT doing enough here now with the Undisputed Era breaking up and, some of the stuff they're doing with camera grinds? Are they doing enough, you think, to start to turn the tides and maybe even out what's going on here on Wednesday nights?
It's going to be interesting. I think the numbers last week showed that maybe something is connecting here. It's getting a little closer. I like the fact that both shows are presented differently. You know what I mean? For me, and I don't want to sound like I'm tooting one horn over the other, but the style that NXT presents is a style that kind of resonates with me as an older wrestling fan. And I know that AEW appeals to a younger audience, a younger demographic. And it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy what I see when I watch them. I enjoy it differently. And with both products, there's some things I see that I say, I wish they would have done this. I wish they would have done this a little differently and so forth. But that being said, I think them continuing on their own path, staying in their own lanes, as opposed to trying to copy what it is. I think this whole Wednesday Night War thing is overdone. Can't we just enjoy both? I know they're on at the same time, but in today's, technologically advanced era, you can watch both, maybe not both at the same time. Well, you could even watch both at the same time. I mean, if you really wanted to, but why can't you enjoy both products?
It's just, I think that it's nostalgia, right? For the Monday Night War, I think is part of it. I think people just like to, social media changed everything. Some for the good, some for the much worse. And I think it's just way easier to go out and pick a side and have an opinion and put your flag in the ground and just ride the wave of whatever conversation that's going to start a lot of the time.
Well, just like politics, I guess it's turning into it. But if I can mention really quickly, speaking of cheap plugs, up here in Canada, we didn't get NXT live on Wednesday nights, but starting with this week's NXT, it will be live on Sportsnet 360 at 8 p.m., just like it is down there where you are. 8 p.m. Eastern time, that is.
That's great. So now you guys can get in on the unnecessary competition between the two brands going head to head.
Exactly. So now the Wednesday Night Wars have moved north of the border, north of the 49th parallel.
Oh man. All right. Well, Jimmy, we'll wrap it there for this time. I'll bring you back obviously here in the not too distant future, and we'll talk some more pro wrestling. But for the time being, man, where do you want to send people to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things?
Well, all my social media platforms, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Now I'm on Cameo, so if you want a special message sent for a birthday, an anniversary, any kind of celebration, or if you want a ref to settle a dispute, I can do that for you as well. That's something different. Okay. Anyways, and I have something in the works. I'm not ready to disclose it yet, but I do have something in the works that you will be one of the first, if not the first, to find out about it.